Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Inside Gators Football, presented by UFL. With head coach Billy Napier, I'm Sean Kelley. This is the bye week edition. The Gators at 1-3 had their first of two bye weeks and now get prepared for Texas. Coach, the bye week last year was a pivot point for that team. The bye week this year for this group, you think will be what?
Yeah, I think it's presented great opportunities. Most importantly, I think as we incorporate DJ back into practice, we've got to create competitive opportunities for him, right? So a lot of full speed work, a lot of good on good work for him to get in rhythm with his players on offense, and I think we're taking advantage of that.
Coach, there's always that balance between we've got work to do, yet we also need to take care of bodies and position ourselves for the next stretch of games. How did you balance those two things this time around?
Yeah, we've got a core group of players that have played a lot of football for us. You know, majority of your team needs to continue to improve, but you do try to take care of the Jake Slaughters, the Austin Barbers, the Jordan Castell. These guys that played a lot of plays in last week's game, but also have a lot of plays in their career. So, in general, we try to take it easy on those guys, and then the majority of your team, we continue to work really hard.
Coach, let's go back to Lagway when you were saying about full speed work or more game simulated type reps. How easily is that done for him and his teammates? What challenges do you have in that sense?
Yeah, I was impressed. I do think that he needs that work, the training camp work. If you think about it, he basically just finished up training camp, the first 4 weeks of the season, and now it's time to go, right? So I think we've done all the quality control, the things that he needs to improve at, but every player on the team, every position group, each unit, and we're trying to get him up to speed, get used to the game speed, playing faster, processing quicker, anticipating better, and I think that's what the open date provides for him.
Could you sense in some ways the things that he needed, or did he have to give you feedback, and if so, what was that?
No, I think we've had really good dialogue throughout. I just think that there's no substitute for that preparation. Think about what the guy's been through this offseason, basically missed spring practice and missed training camp, and really the majority of our OTA work in the summer. So, it's like riding a bike. At some point here, he's going to get back into his rhythm. I felt like the Thursday practice for him in the open date was as good as he's looked since we've been back at it, right? So he had a little different look in his eye, and that was exciting for, I think, everybody.
I don't want this conversation to make it all about DJ Lagway, and that's why the Gators offense has struggled here in the first month. Coach, you're always quick to remind me, the quarterback, yes, but everything around the quarterback eventually impacts the quarterback. So what were the things around the Gators offense that need to be shored up in order for DJ to have more success?
Well, for number one, we got to clean up some of the penalties. We've had 13 penalties on the offensive line. That's an area where we have to get better, some of which are procedure and other people contribute to that, but got to play a little bit cleaner up front. I do think a little more precision outside. And I think the running back protections, the footwork, the eye discipline, we've had all the players contribute to some of the issues we've had. But I think in general, his spark, him being at his best, I think kind of rubs off on all the other players, and I think he understands that.
The Gators defense coach has shown us a lot of good things in the first month. No tape is perfect. I'm sure you evaluated there. When you looked at the Gators defense through the first 4 games, what did you evaluate them as, and what would you like to see them do moving forward?
Well, I think number one would be a little bit better on third down. Each game's kind of got its things where we can improve. I think third down at Miami in the first half in particular. And I do think we want to create more 3-and-outs on a long field, right? I think the advantage here is playing complementary. If we can get stops on the long side of the field, we get more short fields on offense, right? We're kind of bending but not breaking. We're playing good red zone defense and forcing field goals, but again, we're creating long fields on the other side of the ball. So more 3-and-outs, more takeaways, and then at times we can be better on third down.
Injury-wise, Coach, I know that we're back in SEC play. You'll have to do an injury report later in the week. But did the bye week come at a good time with regard to the health of your football team right now?
Certainly two very physical, very competitive games back-to-back. And we had a number of bangs and bruises that we needed a week. So I think we'll have more players available. Dallas Wilson, obviously, is the headliner. He's been back practicing last week in the open date, so I think that's going to be huge for the offense. And in general, a few more players are out, but we get a couple more back.
Mentally, Coach, what's the challenge for your team right now?
Well, I think the key here is to understand that we control our attitude, our effort, and our energy today. We have no control over what's happened in the past. So do we have the maturity to kind of to flush those things and focus on the task at hand? I think sometimes any time we waste on that from the past, we're wasting time. So I think we got to use our experience. It's got to be fuel for the fire to some degree. We got to make sure we learn our lesson, but we cannot waste time dwelling on the past because we've got a great football team coming to town this week.
All right, the bye week is concluded. Back into the regular schedule now for the week. And a little bit later in the week, Coach now gets you ready for this weekend's matchup against Texas. Till next time, thanks. And thanks to our sponsor as well, UF Health.